We're looking right now at the view from a helicopter flying off the west coast of Vancouver Island, searching for the MV Sun Sea. It is out there somewhere, the 60-meter freighter filled with human cargo. The boatload of Tamil migrants could land on Vancouver Island as early as tonight. It was earlier today that the Sun Sea moved within Canada's 200-mile offshore limit, with reports of hundreds of people on board and at least one person dead. The ship cannot be boarded and escorted to shore until it is closer, once inside Canada's territorial waters, but that may happen within a matter of hours. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. The ship carrying the Tamil migrants could land as early as tonight. The Sun Sea within that limit now, and we are watching as the preparations continue onshore for the arrival. Police boats are in the inner harbor. HMCS Winnipeg has set sail, and a special ward is being prepared in the old emergency room at Victoria General Hospital. Where the ship docks is still a question. It may be taken directly to CFB Esquimalt. Some tents have popped up on the Colwood side of the harbor, but that may not be new. The last refugee ship that was brought ashore came here at Ogden Point, and that's where our Stephen Andrews is standing by with an update on the story tonight. Stephen.
Hudson, though Canadian officials won't confirm whether that ship is destined for Vancouver Island, more specifically Victoria, they are certainly spending a lot of money and a lot of activity on preparing for its arrival. Workers at Victoria General Hospital take a break during what has been a very hectic couple of days. They have been cleaning sections of the hospital for Tamil migrants expected to arrive on Vancouver Island within 24 hours. Outside the medical center, a flurry of ambulance officials and health authority executives are seen planning for the would-be refugees' arrival. But what that plan is, no one is saying. Tonight, we can tell you what that plan is. Any migrants needing medical attention will be brought here to Victoria General Hospital, to the south side of the building where the old emergency ward was located. You can see tarps have been placed up around the emergency room for privacy. Once they're brought in there, they will be triaged and then taken to a ward on the 7th floor of the building, which is under strict security control. Hospital staff have also been fitted with special masks and goggles to prevent transmission of infection. And sources tell A News carpenters have been working inside the hospital to remove anything that could be used as a weapon. The health authority says if migrants need to be treated, its top priority will be the safety and security of staff providing care. Armed guards will be present. The Canadian Red Cross is also preparing for the Tamil migrants. The organization says it has an agreement with Canada Border Services to monitor the migrants, but only when they have been secured.
We monitor the condition of their detention. We monitor make sure that they have access to family messaging, and this is something that we do all around the world. And we also ensure that they know their rights to access legal recourses in Canada.
Before that can happen, the migrant vessel must be boarded and steered to Vancouver Island. When a Tamil migrant ship arrived last October, armed crew members from HMCS Regina were responsible for navigating the ship to Ogden Point.
They were very low on fuel, and we had to add oil to their engines. I understand they've been doing that every 4 hours.
The military won't confirm if it is involved in this latest arrival, but HMCS Winnipeg sailed from Esquimalt Harbor in the last 24 hours. And HMCS Calgary, returning from war games near Hawaii, was to have returned home 2 weeks ago. But it's still at sea. It's looking unlikely that once the ship is boarded, it will be taken to Ogden Point, unless it arrives overnight. That's the location where the last migrant ship was docked.
I don't think it's possible. CBSA would have contacted us by now, and we've had no contact with them. And we also have a cruise ship due in tomorrow during the day and 2 at night.
But a sign it will dock somewhere near the cruise ship terminal, a small flotilla of RCMP boats is now stationed at Victoria's inner harbor, the same boats used to board the migrant ship in October last year.
Now, Stephen, we heard earlier today from sources in Ottawa that there has been one death on the ship, and you have information that would seem to bear that out.
Well, actually, the coroner's office has put themselves on standby. They're not confirming, though, whether there has been a death. They say that that's going to be the purview of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or when it gets into Canadian waters, the Minister of the Public Safety. But they're certainly not confirming that tonight. But as I said, they have put themselves on standby.
And what about the speculation that it may be taken directly to CFB Esquimalt? What kind of activity have you seen there today?
Well, we are seeing some activity, Hudson. It certainly makes sense. I mean, there's some concern whether those tents have actually been up or that staging area is being created. I know they're trying to keep everything under wraps. They've signed people to confidentiality agreements if they are supplying equipment or any kind of food and such. The one thing I would say about that, it certainly makes sense because they need a very secure area to deal with these migrants, and certainly that will take some time to set up. And as we know, we haven't seen any activity here yet.
And in terms of medical care, what else do you know about Victoria General?
Well, we do know that they have 75 beds that are ready. There are some concerns. Some of the workers are telling us today, though they won't go on camera for fear of losing their jobs, they say that they are very concerned about going in there. They've been putting these masks on their face, and then they've been spraying a kind of a substance at them. If they can taste it, then that means that they can't work in that area because the infection could leak in behind the mask. But there is definitely some concern about working with these migrants once they arrive at Victoria General, Hudson.
All right, we'll keep waiting and watching. Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Stephen Andrew reporting live at Ogden Point. There is a lot of secrecy and a lot of speculation about the migrant ship and where it is. It's under close surveillance from the air, and the people who are watching are likely the ones we've seen taking off and landing from CFB Comox. The military will not confirm their mission, but long-range Aurora aircraft have been active at 19 Wing. It is usually used to track submarines, but the Aurora is also effective at watching what's on the surface. Gord Kurbis has more on that.
It's quite likely one of the main tools being used to track a migrant ship inbound to British Columbia off the west coast of Canada. As A News has shown you in previous reports, crews associated with the Aurora from 19 Wing Comox say the aircraft is ideal for a variety of uses.
It's very versatile, maneuverable. We can actually maneuver the airplane a 360-degree turn in about a 2 nautical mile span.
The Aurora was first introduced to the Canadian forces back in 1980 for use in anti-submarine warfare. In its more recent history, the same technology that's been used to hunt subs has increasingly been used for surveillance missions.
The format of the airplane is such that we have a very long endurance, so we can stay airborne for a long time, provide persistence, and which works great out in the Pacific with such a large water mass.
Given the sensitivity surrounding the current migrant vessel, no one from 19 Wing Comox was available to talk about the capabilities of the Aurora aircraft or even to verify if it is involved in tracking the vessel. But given the aircraft's history in previous missions, it's a safe bet that it is involved in this case.
Stores drop. Now.
In 2007, A News was invited on board the aircraft to witness its capabilities and tools, including the MX-20 electro-optical camera. Its daytime clarity and infrared technology allow the operator to see great distances. That keeps the aircraft from being detected from enemies, and quite likely it's being used to track the inbound vessel, the Sun Sea.
It allows us to do a general search with the wide angle, and with the narrow angle allows us to focus right in and get detail off a contact without being counter-detected.
It was the same camera that captured this visual evidence of a vessel involved in what was believed to be an illegal drift netting operation.
It allows us to differentiate who's who. On some of the missions allows us to get information about a vessel, the exact type, name, port of registry, all good information that we need to collect to complete the mission.
Earlier this year, Comox received an Aurora that went through its third round of upgrades. The main change was to further enhance its surveillance capabilities. The life of the aircraft itself is expected to last until sometime in 2020. In Comox, Gord Kurbis, A News.
There are signs tonight that a ship carrying Tamil migrants is edging ever closer to the coast of Vancouver Island. And as it does, officials are putting the final touches on their preparations for the ship's arrival. A News has learned that Canada Border Service agents from across Canada are now traveling to BC to help process the migrants. And as those plans gear up, some wonder whether the government is doing enough to dissuade these boatloads of refugees from coming here in the first place. The question tonight, though, is when will the ship arrive and where? Stephen Andrew has the story.
Canada is getting ready for more Tamil migrants, expected to land in BC within days. From temporary buildings being dropped at the Fraser Correctional Centre to planes at CFB Esquimalt believed to be on daily reconnaissance missions, the signs are all there. Officials are tracking the Tamil migrant ship.
Canada Border Services Agency is prepped, ready to go. Even the legal aid system in British Columbia has prepped up, and the lawyers are on standby.
The planning comes from experience gathered during a number of previous cases. Most recently, 76 Tamil migrants who arrived in Victoria last year. In 1999, about 600 Asian migrants arrived on the coast of Vancouver Island in 4 separate ships. Ottawa says border and marine security is a priority.
The problem of human smuggling and illegal migration is a serious one, and the abuse of our immigration system is something that our government will not tolerate.
But this former immigration and border agent, now a professor in justice studies, says with thousands of outstanding immigration warrants, Canada needs more resources.
It's inconceivable that 500 people, 500 officers, could identify, locate, and deal with those over 45,000 people, let alone boats full of more people who are going to enter the system.
A number of those agents from across Canada are now on their way to help process the Tamil migrants now heading to BC. Where they will land, officials aren't saying. But there is word their ship could land at a number of entry points. A dock near Comox, at Victoria's Ogden Point, or at CFB Esquimalt. But a source tells A News the migrant ship is more likely to land here in Victoria, whether at Ogden Point or CFB Esquimalt. The reason for that? Victoria has 2 trauma centers in case any of the migrants need emergency medical aid. And it would be from here that investigators would find it easier to stage any possible criminal investigation. And perhaps no one will be watching that landing more closely than the operators of 2 more migrant ships ready to set sail once they learn how officials accept or reject potential refugees.
Stephen Andrew joins us now with more on the story. Stephen, among other questions are those about the cost of processing these migrants. Do we have any idea how much that's going to be?
Well, Hudson, the government doesn't really like to talk about that. Professor Sundberg from Calgary has put in a number of freedom of information requests, and he's received no answer. He says probably the best guess is $50,000 to $70,000 per person, and that does not include the cost of returning unsuccessful applicants, which could be in the millions. But immigration advocates say that's the cost of having a free and open democracy.
All right, Stephen Andrew reporting. Stephen, thank you.
You're welcome.